Okay, let's make some of these lovely lacy papers. Aren't these super cool? Like I mentioned at the beginning, I saw them on the Book and Paper Arts YouTube channel and by Louisa Janetta's YouTube channel. Now let's make some really cool lacy papers using tissue paper and string. I am sure this technique probably works just as well with the napkins, but I use tissue paper because at the time I was following Louisa Janetta's YouTube video. And besides, I find they're much stabler for all the string. Warning, I'm going to crinkle now. And you can see they're really crinkly. And this is only 2 pages of tissue paper. Yep, that basic tissue paper you get as in your shoe boxes or you can buy to wrap gifts in. So if you want to know how to make these cool versions, stick around and I'm going to show you how. Of course, you're going to need tissue paper. You're going to need our glue, our cornstarch glue, and you're going to need some string. You can use string. You can use threads. I've used the little parts of threads and put it all down. You can also use dental floss, not dental floss, well, who knows, maybe you could. Embroidery floss that you've pulled the strands apart. So, and you're going to need, I almost forgot, the baking paper, aka parchment paper. I have done these techniques using, you know, those plastic liners from cereal boxes, the inside one, and the plastic clear wrapping paper foil thing. I didn't like them because I found when I pulled the paper up, they created a shiny bottom. And I found with the baking paper, that did not happen. It stayed matte. Okay, so once again, I'm going to smear a little magic glue down on my parchment paper. I'm going to place my tissue paper down. And since I'm using this string, yeah, it's just a little roll a friend gave me. Normally I have it in the garden. And of course I forgot the scissors. Hang on a second. Okay, take a piece of thin string. I pre-cut a few string pieces because once I put the glue down, you don't, it will dry, especially since I'm outside and it is quite warm today. And we're going to do a little weave. Okay, so I have my strings, and then I glue the top. And in this case, since I'm using strings and I want the 2 layers to really glue fuse together, I applied the glue a little thicker than I did with the napkins. And then the ladies in the other videos, they laid their string down and then tapped more glue on top. I found that caused my string to move a lot and annoyed me. So what I do is I put hold one end and I put it in my glue and wet it. So this way it will stick to the paper. If you don't like your fingers goopy, put the gloves on. Like I said, it does not bother me. Okay, now I take one of the strings and I just lay it down wherever I want it. Maybe I'll do a wave this time instead of a traditional, be like this. And see, since the string is wet and the background is really wet, it sticks without me now having to tap, tap, tap glue on top and causing it to move. And I have a little more control. Let's do it like this. Do we want one going across here? Oh, why not? Let's get a little funky. Okay, and maybe one more. Oh, maybe two more. One and one more. There we go. Dunk it in the glue. Okay. In the other videos, they recommend trying to weave it. I found it didn't make much of a difference. You can now try to dab a little glue on top in spots, but I found that usually caused my string to move. Now, I take the other piece, oops, of my tissue paper. If your tissue paper has a shiny and a dull side, I keep putting the dull side up. I don't know if it makes a difference. I think it's just because I instinctively don't want this shiny side. I laid this on top, and now I use my fingers to smooth this out. Oops, see, I ripped it. Don't worry about it. It'll dry, and I find it adds character. If it bothers you, then patch it with another piece. It's not going to bother me. Okay, and now I put gently but firmly, trying to press where the strings are, especially at their intersection. I apply glue on top. Oops, I did it again. But that's good. Now you see what can happen. It happens to me too. And I'll see if I have some here to show you. When it dries, okay, and once again, somewhere I'll make a little doodah, for lack of a better word, so I can pick it up. And that's it. Once it's coated nicely, it's ready for the clothesline. Oh, before I forget, before I hang on the clothesline, if you want to add holes into it, once again, you can create holes now. Try to stay away from the strings. I wouldn't necessarily put them everywhere. Just, and maybe here one, and a little one there. I think that's probably enough. Since that, when I ripped it accidentally, we're gonna make it intentional. There you go. So that's it. If you want the paper to be really thick, you can add a third layer of the tissue paper, or a fourth. In the beginning, I was doing 3 or 4, and then I discovered they were really thick and crunchy. And since I want to use them as embellishment, rip it up for embellishments, or use it as a book page, or maybe even a cover, they didn't have to be that thick. So, oops, the papers are going to fly. So I'm going to hang this up, and then I'm going to show you some of the colored ones. Now, this is some of the tissue papers I created, and as you can see, there's the string. I did swirls. Here was some leftover, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, leftover threads that I had by the sewing machine. I always keep it in such a little bowl, and I just threw them down. And then when this was dry, I sprayed it just with coffee. Okay, now let's turn those plain tissue papers, these ones that we created, and napkins, into colorful pages. And this is so easy. Aren't these just yummy? I just love these. I think they're just so cool. And this was just tissue paper I crumbled up, added no string, and created holes in it when it was wet. This one, of course, I just did a meandering string. Oh, I think this one has some, does it? Yeah, some threads. I don't know if you can see it. threads in between the layers. And this one I just went kooky. And what does this remind me of? Oh, I can't place it. But, and here's where I did like a checkerboard. Oh, and just so you know, you don't have to just use strings or threads. I have a lot of hortensias in my garden, and I let them, when I cut them, I let them dry. And then between the layers of the tissue paper or the napkins, I will just take some and crumple it in between. Or if I want to be fussy, I will lay out the actual little flowers. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but on this one, there's hydrangeas in between the layers. And it's probably very hard to see. Let your imagination go wild. I've also used grasses and different weeds and stuff, but I didn't bring them all down to show you. I'll see if I can post a picture at the end of some of the other ones. Okay. Now, if you thought that was messy, now it's really going to get messy. We're going to color some of these. I use spray paints, all and any that I happen to find on sale or have in my stash. Like this kind, you see it's a little duller. Those are made with the distressed, do I have it here? Distressed oxide. Oh, I didn't bring one out, but the distressed oxides. The brighter colors are made with distressed stains or any other company. I've used Dilutions. I've used, I don't even know what these are. Carrot cake, okay. Whenever I find these on sale, I always grab them up because I know I will use them. And for these brown versions, I like the distress sprays in the vintage photo and walnut stain and a little of the what's the vanilla one called? Oh, can't think of it right now, but I'm out of it. I have to order some more. So as you see, you can, I will leave some white and then some I'll spray in colors that I know I wish to use in my journals. Now imagine this on a cover, trimming some of this. Wouldn't this look absolutely cool? Of a journal. Or cutting, here is just, this actually was a wipe up page. It was a little piece that ripped on me, and then I used to mop up all the colors here, and I think it turned out quite cool. And then if I rip it and use it for in my journals as part of accent, oops, there go the papers. Okay, now this part is really messy. Okay, we're going to need a piece of parchment paper on the bottom. And we're just going to lay, okay, I made this one of a napkin, and I don't care for how it came out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly spritz it with some water, also to help tame it down, so it'll stay put. And then I am going to put gloves on, because tomorrow I do have a doctor's appointment, and I don't really wish to go in with green and red and orange hands. So, there. And now, make sure, if you've used these sprays, people like to do it in spray boxes and stuff. I prefer to do it outside. Normally I would do this on the grass, but yeah, it's hard to set everything up again in the grass. But I just, oh, and I also have a piece of normal printer paper ready at hand to mop up. And I just spray. Let's see, what color would I like to do this? I'm going to work on a fall one, so let's do some yellow. And I just randomly spray a little yellow. Let's do a little orange. Okay, maybe, and this is redundant to red. Okay. And then I will take water to help move it along. As you see, if I didn't bring it out with me, coffee made up, I will spray it on that to damp it down. And sometimes I say, oh, I need a little there, much in there a bit, in here, and I just play. Let's see. Remember, nothing has to be permanent. And if you find, I find the water helps move it along. I know some people use acrylic paints. I like using the sprays. I get really bright colors. Okay, that about. But if I find it's really soft and wet, then I will take a piece of coffee paper, typewriter paper. Oh my goodness, can't even talk. The heat's getting to me. And I will blot it, and this creates then extra paper for me. And voila. Isn't that cool? And then this isn't so wet. And then if it is wet, I leave it in the grass to dry, because if you hang it up, if there's puddles of water and paint, it'll run down. Of course, gravity. But this one looks pretty good mopped up from my paper here for the excess. And now I will hang them both on the line. Okay, so that's it. That's how I create the lace papers with string and paint and everything. My word of advice is just give it a try. If you don't mind getting being 5 years old in kindergarten again, you're going to love this process. Use coffee if you're first intimidated, if you don't like these bright colors. But remember, it's just a piece of paper. If you don't like it, paint it, spray it on top, spray coffee on it, use distressed inks and oxides, much it, rip it up. You'll be surprised how cool it looks when it's done. So I hope you enjoy this, and let me know if you do give it a try. And oh, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment, and share, just so I know that someone out there is actually watching these videos, or am I just talking to myself? Well, I do a lot of that too. Until next time, cheers. I just wanted to pop in and show you the results. This is the one that I made in the beginning of the video. You can see where it ripped, but I find it adds character to it. And then these were some more that I had spray painted, and here you can see the strings better. And this one I love. Gave it like a crimped effect, added some gold in. I find it really pretty. And then I went crazy and made this one. This was inspired by my friend Britta. She sent me a picture of a wall hanging she made with fabric, patchworking and fabric in her bathroom. So I did the same effect, but with tissue paper and string. I also mentioned that you could use flowers and other things, not just string in the middle. So I found a few I still had. This was with some reeds or dried something. And this one, here you can see the dried hortensias, hydrangeas, you say in English, dried hydrangeas, and some thread, and a few grasses and everything I tossed in there. And this one also has dried hydrangeas in it, but this was, then I sprayed this with some coffee to give it like an old antique look. So like I said, just give it a try, have some fun, and let me know how it goes. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I do. Cheers.